because he realized because of my faithfulness, God's hand and his protection was now on my life. So the witchcraft and the generational curses and the spells and all of these things were not working anymore. So his only option was to try and get me to become unfaithful to God to block the promise. But I told him, absolutely not. I've come too far to turn back now. This is the most sober, the most abstinent, the most faithful I've ever been in my life. I've spent 38 years wandering. You've spent your lives wandering, lost because of unfaithfulness, because of sexual immorality, adultery, and doubt. Sometimes I get so upset when I think about the years that I wasted. I say, I gotta see it through this time. We gotta see it through this time. We don't have any more time to waste. We spent enough time doing foolishness and it cost us a lot. It cost us 40 years like the Israelites. The Israelites had traveled far and journeyed for years. Moses reviews their journey to have had around 42 stops and 40 years of wandering before they reached their promised land, when it should have taken them 11 days. The story of Balak and Balaam takes place at their very last camp before crossing over into the promised land. And that is the place many of them fell for the trap of seduction and idolatry. This delayed some of them, but it completely stopped the journey for 24,000 people. 24,000 people did not cross over. 24,000 people died in the wilderness. They were so close. I said, what a tragedy. I refuse to let that be me. I've come too far to die in my wilderness season. I said, I am crossing over if I have to drag myself over the finish line. I am going to make it to the promised land. God says to tell many of you to stay faithful because many of you are at the door. You are so close. You have endured the desert place. You have come too far to die in the wilderness. This is the furthest some of you have ever been. This is your last pit stop before crossing over. This is your last test before crossing over. This is the enemy's last attempt to hinder you through seduction and idolatry to try and stop you from reaching your promised land. Hear me when I say this. God says to pass the test. Do not fall back into idolatry and sexual immorality. Pass the test. You are right at the door. Your promise is right on the other side of this last test, this last act of obedience. God says, stay faithful and you shall receive your inheritance. You shall cross over into your promised land, and no curse can stop you. The only thing that can stop you is you.